Hello and welcome. My name is Tom.
And I'm Heather.
And you are sitting at the Couples Table.
The Couples Table is a weekly live stream podcast here on this YouTube channel. Join us for better or worse.
For richer or poorer.
In sickness and in health.
As long as we both shall live. We did it.
We renew our vows every week.
We do. Yes. All right. I think things are recording. I think people can hear us. I think things are good.
Okay, you gotta show everyone the new toy because
people are talking about it already. Homesick Max says it an ATEM Mini Extreme. Yes, it is extreme.
It's extremely extreme.
Which ironically, I'm only using 4 inputs right now, so I could have done that with the other one.
Like I don't even. Okay, I have questions.
Sure.
As a DIY solo person,
why?
Not why, but like how? There are so many buttons.
There's so many buttons on this thing, but here's the original ATEM. So I have the base model, the cheapest one, and then the most expensive one. Those are the two that I have. And so there's a couple of reasons why. This one obviously gives you like 8 inputs, and then actually I can connect this one to it, so it would take one of them. So
you could have 12.
Yeah, it'd really be 11 because one of these
is an input.
Yeah. So I have ideas for future things I want to do in streams. So that's why I wanted more inputs.
There are ideas.
Yeah, I just have ideas. Also, we have learned that it's possible to use multiple capture cards. I have a video coming out soon-ish that's all about that for like presentations and stuff. And now that we're just constantly doing stuff like, you know, we've been swapping our cam link back and forth and things. And this is an extreme capture card, but it will work as a second capture card.
So you don't need to use the cam link.
No, I don't use. No, these are the capture cards, but these don't go to 4K. These only go to 1080. And then also the thing about the the ATEM, the extreme here is this one is it lets you do things where well, let's see, I don't have a thing, but I can see all of the inputs here on a screen, but also I don't know how to do this yet. In here, I can set up screens with multiple inputs up on screen for you guys to see right now. So like we could do side-by-side interviews. We could do cameras like together, which the other ones can't do. And so my thought was get the high-end one because I've been wanting to make tutorials, but there's features this one doesn't have.
Yeah.
And I can't talk about it because it doesn't have it. So I was like, I'll get the maxed out one. And then every time I can make tutorials that like different models have for things. So anyway, that's my long-term strategy with getting it, but I just got it today.
Yay. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited that you're excited because he's definitely excited.
It's a lot of buttons though. And where is it? Oh, you can see the size on the desk. Sorry. I'm learning.
You guys can see Ben.
You can see Ben and his tennis ball. So anyway, that's not what we're talking about today, but let me transition because
Tom.
As a full-time creator, this is a tool that I want to use to help express my creativity and bring some of my ideas to life.
Yeah.
I've heard of this thing called the creator. I don't know how to transition. But yeah, so let's see if people have feedback too.
Everyone's excited.
Everyone's excited because of toys. Yes. And it's really, really nice to see everybody here. We've got Aubrey and Josh. I swear Josh pops up on every stream.
Love it, Josh.
On YouTube. Only the good ones, though, I should say. And hello to everybody. We've got Sean. We've got Michael. Ian wishing us a late happy Easter. Happy late Easter to you. And Mr. Camera Junkie as well. And Homesick Max says there's material for at least 10 new videos about the ATEM.
That's true.
It will pay for itself, yes. Anyway. You might notice at the top of the chat, or if you're listening to the audio-only version, in the show notes, there's a link to a YouTube video from Jack Conti, who's the Patreon CEO. And he has a YouTube channel, and he's been a creator for a long time. But he's been talking... He released a video yesterday that I thought was just interesting, and I was watching it, and I was kind of like fascinated by it, and I was talking to Heather about it, and then we were like, hey.
And immediately I was like, this should be the topic that we talk about on the couples table, because not only are we full-time content creators, a lot of you are as well, right. Or you're in transition, or you at least have, you're creating content on the side. And I think it's worth a discussion to talk about our industry that we are in, and where we think it's going, trends, how we think it's going to all evolve. And yeah.
Right. So sorry, I was thinking too many things. So this video, which some of you watch, because Heather linked to it in the chat, some of you have watched it.
Yeah, so it's the pinned comment. Go check it out.
It's pretty cool. But basically, Jack brings up a couple points that I think are interesting in the video. One is he's talking about the creator economy, which is just this interesting thing that we've been talking about
since day one, honestly.
Yeah. But we didn't really have like a name for it. It wasn't really until like the last 6 months that I feel like the term creator economy has popped up.
The way that I think that we saw it was we used the word digital literacy.
Yeah, but that's what we were talking about.
Because that's what we were talking about. We said that if you became digitally literate and then you shared your story and sparked your potential, which is the name of our company, creating content, there's this whole opportunity. Right. But these words just didn't exist. So I was like, share your story and spark your potential. That's what I came up with.
Which is still good.
Yeah.
But creator economy is interesting because it leverages the idea that, which is the whole thing. Like, I know when I watch these videos from Jack that part of it is like also Patreon marketing, because it's like, he doesn't say like, hey, use Patreon or anything, but it's clearly like we're talking about getting creators paid and the value of that. And it's like, oh, your company does that. It's good marketing, but he's kind of been on the...
But he's a content creator himself.
He's a content creator himself, which is where this came from. And that was sort of like the goal of Patreon is it's okay to get paid for making stuff. And it's great to put that control in the hands of the creator to decide how that works. Like, do you just pay money to support? Do you get something in return? Are there different tiers of stuff? Like, how Patreon works, there's different ways you can approach it. And since Patreon has popped up, there's so many other platforms and ways to get paid as a content creator, whether it's full-time, part-time, or whatever. And so kind of demystifying that, democratizing that, and making it accessible, I think is a really cool thing.
Yeah, and basically, the implication in the video is that we are at the point where new businesses and companies are now competing to provide the best method of paying creators, which is an amazing thing for creators,
right?
Because now like instead of, it's cool that now the focus of these companies, it's almost like there's a partnership. Their goal is to support the creators, otherwise the platform doesn't exist. Otherwise, they're invested in the growth of this economy, and that I think is so is promising for us creators, because clearly things are moving in the direction where the creator economy is only going to grow, only going to become a serious, reputable career or industry or whatever you want to call it. I think we are kind of still at the point where if a kid says they want to be a YouTuber or a content creator, there's a little bit of a like, oh, that's cute, you're a kid.
Yeah.
Once you grow up, we'll see about
you get
that.
a real job.
Yeah, but I think, the way that Jack is kind of painting this picture, and I agree with him, is that, these tools are going to make it possible for, it's almost going to take away the stigma of becoming a content creator, because it's going to be easier to make a living and a sustainable income off of creating content and being creative and building an audience or community or whatever it is. So
yeah, he talked about in that video that there's, I forget the number, there's a significant number of podcasts on Patreon that are making millions of dollars in revenue a year just through their Patreons. And there's a huge number of YouTube creators who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on there, which is not us. Not yet. But it just shows, I mean, those are real, and that's just one arm. Pretty much anybody who's doing that stuff, for the most part, has other streams of revenue. And so when you start mixing that stuff in, because that's where I think it's really important. I've had conversations since moving to like full-time stuff with people who are really warning of like, don't trust YouTube, don't trust Amazon, don't trust these companies. They do not have your best interest at stake.
Yeah, don't trust the distribution platform.
Yeah, don't trust them at all. Which is like, I was thinking about this yesterday because I was like, okay, I'm sure there's bad people that work at YouTube, but I don't think that like the majority of people who work for YouTube, for example, are like evil or anything. I think that there's limitations when you're working on a giant platform that has all these different, I don't know, when you're working on something that's so big.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably, there's corporate interests, and I think there's probably people who have there's probably people who have ulterior motives, but the average person who's working there, I think, is just trying to do a good job and trying to like build the platform. But I do think it could be in your best interest as a creator to kind of act as if, they're not there to help you, because we've heard and seen the horror stories of what can go wrong and things can disappear. And
well, I mean, to me, the way that I see it is right now I can confidently say that if you don't understand, or maybe if not that you don't understand, if you are not a content creator on YouTube, I think the perception is that YouTube creators get most of their revenue from YouTube. But I think at least most of the creators that I have met, they do not get most of the revenue from YouTube, which or
at least directly through AdSense on YouTube.
Yeah, right. So of course they have a brand, and because of their YouTube videos and the content they create on YouTube, they are making money. But in terms of like revenue sources, YouTube ads and being in the YouTube partnership program is probably the least amount, I would think. I mean, it is for me, and it is for a lot of people. So, I mean, what's cool about that is now there's just so many options. Yeah. Like not only Patreon used to be the one that everyone talked about, but what Jack is making it seem like is there's just so many companies popping up that are like, oh, create on our platform, or here's a way that you can monetize, or here's a way that you can get paid as a creator by being on this platform. And I don't know. I think
he talks about it like he uses like the Lego analogy of historically, if you wanted to start a business, especially any kind of tech related business,
you had to do everything.
Yeah, I mean, just figuring out like how to build an infrastructure, how to build networking things, how to handle every part of it. And now, because there are all these different services, which on our end can be frustrating, because it's like, that's another subscription, that's another $300 a year, that's another $15 a month. But it gives you access to like, okay, here's, if you needed payroll, here's an easy way to do payroll. Here's an easy way to bring in an email list. Here's an easy way to automate something.
Like before, I mean, even just
that would be a position of a person.
Right.
Yeah.
So even with our businesses, I'm an online course creator also. I would have had to build the online course from scratch and like host it on a website, figure out how to embed like a video player and all of that. I instead
handle the payments, handle the like, accessibility,
handle all of that. Oh my gosh, what a nightmare. Instead, I just subscribed to Podia, which takes care of it. It automates the whole thing. Yeah, I just show up and put the course on there and, provide support to my students, but the students also just log into the platform, and I don't need to be, as active as I think I would have had to been in the past. So, I mean, that's what it seems like this whole thing is moving more towards, that where it is going to be like, if you're a creator and you want to do it a certain way, there's all these pieces that you can now kind of piece together to make it fit and work for you.
I just realized, though, that when I said that would have been a job, it made it sound like I was happy that people wouldn't have jobs. But that's not what I meant. What I meant was that
it's just easier.
If you're someone who couldn't afford, you need this service and you can't afford to pay a person to do it in the past, that means you're done. It's just not an option then.
Plus, it's slower.
It's slower, and and then this is like, now it's within reach of a more like average typical person, which also then ties into what we talked about before about like middle class creators, where it's the creator middle class, where sure, if you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, you got a budget for some staff or some extra things. But if you don't, and you just want to earn kind of a regular living doing, your create, we'll call it creative, but it could, because it is creative, but you could be doing something very, sharing knowledge, educational, whatever, but we're calling it creative. You can still earn your living, and you can still have the tools you need to grow and build it. And that's something that just hasn't happened before. And so then Jack takes it a step further in the video and talks about the Renaissance, like the original Renaissance, where, you read about it in history books and you look at the art and read the literature and the rediscovering, the rebirth of culture and all this stuff. And his theory is that we're in the midst of a second Renaissance, the scale of which is so great that it would make the first one seem super, super small in comparison, and that the end result is that people will create stuff that have these lasting impacts on the world, and 5 or 10 years from now be in a point where like online creators, whatever that might mean,
are legitimate, reputable,
are like, and have a lot of power and and I don't like authority and control, because like you don't want to control someone, but where it is legit, where it's a real thing. And obviously there's a lot of creators who are starting little businesses and hiring people and building studios and basically making little networks, but they're in charge of it instead of like some network executive that calls all the shots and changes everything. You can do everything on your terms, which is kind of amazing. So that's my book report on this video.
Well, I mean, the reason why I thought it would be a good topic, again, is because I if you're still on the fence, or even if you've made a YouTube channel but you haven't, for whatever reason, not that you haven't taken it seriously, but if you're still looking for, like, this is why I need to carve out some time every week and really, prioritize making this grow, like, here's your butt kick. Because if you think it's too late, it actually might be too early. Like, you might just be like right where it's starting. Jack made it seem like, hey, next 5-10 years, things are going to be so much further along, especially with all the people that are currently working on it, more people who are going to jump on board, all of these things. So it's exciting. I think it's really cool.
There's so many options. And checking in, Homesick Mac said he was just evaluating Patreon versus Buy Me a Coffee yesterday. So there's like, as a creator, it's not just the one option, because there's different like, YouTube channel memberships versus Patreon versus Buy Me a Coffee. Like, there's different benefits to the viewer, the customer, the fan. there's benefits to the creator, benefits to the company. Like, you know, YouTube takes 30% of channel memberships, but the integration is so nice. Patreon takes, I don't know, 20%, 15%. So you make more money on Patreon, but it's clunkier if you want to bring in YouTube stuff. But then Patreon can expand to everything. So if you do a YouTube channel and a podcast, people go to your one Patreon, support everything. Like, there's so much flexibility for what's... I tried to reach for the mouse just now and I wasn't here. There's so much flexibility for you and your audience. I think that's just super cool, especially like having been in a point where I was like, making money is evil on your creative thing, and now going like, hey, what's a way to do it on my terms is a very different conversation, because I thought it was you make no money or you sell your soul. No middle ground. Which honestly, up until a couple years ago, kind of was. Like, yeah, it kind of was.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Buck taught us how to edit videos. That's right.
Wait, who? Do you know who this is?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Clearly one of your students.
Yes. No one else calls me Buck.
Yeah. Coffee Talk and Tech. Never put all your eggs in one basket. This
yes.
is very true. Definitely diversify as a content creator. Let's see. I would be down to make videos. My current content is not a good example, though.
That's why you just got to keep making stuff, though. That's like, yeah. That's what you just got to keep doing.
I started with BMC too. Of course, I need to set it up or write stuff out. What's BMC then?
Buy me a coffee?
It is Buy Me a Coffee. Okay.
I realized who Laughix is. Never mind.
Oh, you did?
Yes. DaVinci Resolve, over-the-top transitions. I bet there's stuff like DaVinci Resolve, which is like this amazing pro free editor. Like,
yeah,
it's so freaking good.
Nick's
here. Hey, haven't talked to you in a long time. I just love that you don't need permission to create. You don't need a media company or a hiring manager or an HR department to allow you to start. Just start. That's what Nick and I were on a call earlier. Don't mean to make everybody jealous.
Yeah.
But Nick was explaining that, you know,
meeting of the minds.
That on Friday he sort of like had a last minute idea for a video. So, you know, he's a one person creative show.
Oh shoot! Sorry.
He decided Friday night, I want to make this video. He filmed it, and then 10 o'clock he was done. He had it scheduled for the next day. He had the idea. He executed it. He put it into play, and then it was done.
I mean, that's what happened to you yesterday.
Yeah, I did the same thing this week when Rode came out with an
Tuesday.
update for the Rodecaster. I was like, can you see my Rodecaster? Where's it? This camera. There we go. They came out with an update over here, and I was like, hey, this is pretty cool.
He came into my office at 4 p.m., which is usually like, we're used to that being the
I was
end of
done
day.
for the day. I had sat down on the couch and opened up the iPad to watch the old YouTube, and then there was an update where Rode was like, hey, we updated things. He came into my office,
and he was like, I think I'm going to make a video. And I was like, you do you.
And then I did, and it was done in like 2.5 hours from start to finish, pretty much. Because it was a relatively simple one, but I had to like solve some tech issues. And that was cool. I didn't have to run that by like, I need to email someone, get permission, get clearance, get it approved, do this. It was like, no.
Yeah, so it's funny because a lot of people who are kind of new to content creation, there's a lot of fear of like, oh, I don't know. But it's crazy what an opportunity it is to not, like, the only person that you need to get permission from is yourself. And do you know how easy that is? Like, all you have to do is be like, you know what? I'm just going to go make something. That's it.
Yes. I do want to say, Peter, super chat, thank you.
You're sweet, thank you.
And he said he put every alarm in the house to catch a show.
That's so
it's
sweet.
funny because Peter's the one I was thinking about when it was like the advice of do not act like these companies have your interest at stake. And I know, I'm sorry, Peter, if you're yelling at this screen right now, because we talked about this a little bit last week, and then on his stream on Fridays, he was like, I just wanted to like tell you, but I mean, I think that I don't want to think that people are evil and doing bad things, but I also don't want to think that like, yes, YouTube, this giant company, does care about me and what I like. I mean, there's millions of creators. They care about creators, but if you disappeared and stopped making videos, they wouldn't even know. Yeah, right.
That's what it comes down to.
Same thing with, you know, affiliate programs or whatever. Yeah. It's like it's very imbalanced because your reliance on it is much more than their reliance on you. Or it can be, but the more that you diversify and get in control, Peter was one of the people who's like, it's great that you've got your course done. Now make more courses. Yeah. Like, yes, stock the shelves on the store.
Tom's video came out for Rhodes.
It came out right after, but it has almost the same amount of views, which makes me happy. Not that it's a contest. But
That was a super cool. Also surprising to see an impromptu video for Tom. I know, right? When was the last time you went off of your schedule?
I did it last summer. I did 2 videos a week for a while.
So almost a year.
Yeah, almost a year. But yeah, because I haven't had the time to go can you imagine?
No.
I would have.
I mean, it's just not possible.
I would have gotten wound up. I wouldn't have been able to sleep. I would have been tired the next day, cranky the next day. It would have been a whole thing.
Hey, we got a super sticker.
We can't post the super sticker on here. It just says what it is. Fan character sending hearts with their hands.
It's cute. Here's what it looks like.
There we go.
Yay.
That's funny. So yeah, I mean those are the decisions you can make, like consultations. If I want to open up more hours, I can. If I don't want to open more hours, then...
Dude, I keep telling him to open more hours, but he was like, yeah, I'll open up in May. I'm like, it's April.
Because I want to... I love doing consultations.
Yeah, of course.
Nick and I were talking about this, but it's like, it's not scalable because...
Right, it's your time. Mm-hmm.
It's your time with the person, and it is time that you then can't be doing other stuff. So,
but we got the course happening, so
the course is happening, and I'll just raise the consultation rate. Then it'll be super worth it.
$1,000
for an hour with me. Lavix, I think I'm gonna make tech videos. Yes, because that's the thing, is the stuff that you don't stop talking about. That's the good place to at least start.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what it'll turn into.
Because at the end of the day, as a content creator, the one thing that's going to keep you going is your interest or your passion for whatever it is that you're talking about.
Right.
Like, that's going to fuel the whole system more than anything else. And if it's like I'm going to jump on board this like trending thing, 6 months from now when you run out of ideas or whatever, or you're uninspired or unmotivated, it's gonna be really hard. It's like too much effort to push yourself to do something that you're not 100% on.
Yeah, well, it'll also just be the first thing to go. Like if
Exactly.
that's what I keep saying, because it's, if you're not that into it and then you're in a time crunch or you're tired or whatever, you're gonna say, I'll just skip it this week, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And
It's
you're
the
never
first thing
gonna
to go.
grow that way, as opposed to like, oh my gosh, I'm so into this thing, like I'm going to book out time. That's what we talked about in our mastermind, ytmastermind.com, speaking of revenue streams. Hey, Aubrey, you were there. What we talked about this week was I had found some like random statistics. I'm not going to, they weren't random, but I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head. But it was something like, of the 2 billion plus active
users on YouTube
per month, there are, was it 40 million channels?
Yes, 40 million channels that are active channels. So
have something uploaded.
Yeah.
Maybe one thing, but something.
So first of all, a vast majority of the active users on YouTube, vast majority, just watch.
Yeah.
They are not creating content. 40 million of them, based on this, at least have one video.
This was as of like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And then, because this was all about like what are your chances of making it on YouTube, with making it being defined as getting 100,000 subscribers or more, which is a lot. So your definition of making it could be making 10 videos, earning a side income, hitting 10,000 subscribers, like whatever you're
you define. What
in this case, it was 100,000, which, because I think objectively nobody could argue, like, if you have a channel with 100,000 subscribers, nobody can argue that you're successful. There could be people with far less making far more or whatever, but I think that's an objectively like successful number if you're going to focus on numbers. And of the 40 million channels, there's about 250,000 that have done that. And I might be getting the numbers wrong. I'm not a math guy, but it came down to, in this thing, that there's 1 in 167 channels gets 100,000 subscribers, which means you have a 1 in 167 chance, which is a lot better than a 1 in 40 million chance.
Or a 1 in 2 billion.
Yeah.
If
I mean, Nick's here. He's about to hit 200,000.
Yeah.
So there we go. There's our one.
Yeah,
we need 168 more people though to like, so one of us could do it. Yeah. So that I just thought was cool. And so what we talked about then was giving yourself permission to admit that whatever your creative endeavor is, in this case YouTube, is something that you actually want to do, which you think sounds simple because you're like, well, I started a channel.
It's hard.
But there's a huge difference between starting your channel and posting some videos and openly admitting that like this is something I want to do and I want to meet my level of success, whatever that is. In that, that's very, very different. Like giving yourself that permission. I didn't do it for
so freaking long.
I mean,
like,
honestly,
too long.
Yeah, honestly, it wasn't even until last summer that I was like, yes, I would like to do this full time if I got the chance. That was 3 years.
Yeah.
And so we talked about that in our group of like that mind. You don't even, nothing else needs to change. Just your mindset of I'm admitting to myself and whoever wants to listen that this is something I want to do.
And based on the projections that Jack offers in that video, I mean,
it's not unreasonable.
It's like more than not unreasonable, because even if you're starting at zero right now, today, if you just made sure to commit and prioritize it for, let's say, the next 3 to 5 years, based on these projections, you are not only going to grow, but there's going to be so many resources to support creators in ways that just did not exist even 5 years ago. Even 5 years ago, Patreon was not a thing.
It's crazy.
So
Peter says the unique thing about being a content creator is there's no one like you. Each person is unique. Yes.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like,
that's the awesome thing, is that the only person that you're really competing with is yourself.
Yes. And even in crowded niches, like Peter's main channel.
You made it in that niche, which still surprises me to this day.
Peter's main channel is more camera focused than mine is now, but we've both made camera videos. I don't know if we've made videos on the exact same thing ever, but even if we did, if we both made a video on here, I know like Peter does so much streaming and stuff. He's one of the reasons I bought the original ATEM. If we both did a video on the ATEM Extreme, for example, and there's a dog cam on accident, our videos and our perspectives and our thoughts on it and just the way we approach it would be totally different, even though we're talking about the exact same thing.
And the people who are going to resonate are going to be totally different.
Yeah. Because that's what I've sure I've said this on here before, but like as a teacher, I was fortunate that I was like the only one who taught my thing. So there was no comparison. But if you think of like a traditional thing, like a 10th grade English department, there's like 4 or 5 10th grade English teachers at our school. They're all teaching the exact same material from the exact same text, same pacing guides, but students are going to have different...
Their favorites.
Yeah, like, oh, I really like this class. I don't like this class. And it's not going to be 100% yes, 100% no. Like one student's favorite is going to be another person's least favorite. And even though they're going over the same material, because of how they approach it, how the personalities connect or don't, like... And the same thing, I like that example because most of us have gone to school with teachers.
We get that, yeah.
And the same thing applies to YouTube. So if you're like, but I want to do this and other people have already done it, it's like, yeah, but you didn't. I'm not saying don't be original or don't try something new, but you didn't put your spin on it, which could just be something that connects with people in a very different way. Or you could put it out there, see how people are connecting with it, and it could teach you a different way to approach your stuff. Like, yeah. It's like this dual relationship. I don't know what I was gonna say, symbiotic, but I don't think it's the right word.
And so I don't know if you're still struggling with the mindset of embracing or giving yourself permission to really take whatever, you know, content channel that you want to create on seriously in terms of like prioritizing it, you know, because it's one thing to say like, oh, I want to be a YouTube creator, but then if it's the first thing to go every single time you're busy or you're not feeling it or you're tired or whatever, then you know, maybe
do you really?
Yeah, exactly. But I think a lot of things that one thing that really contributes to the mindset, like for me, I know I was embarrassed to admit that I wanted to do YouTube because especially 4 years ago, famous YouTubers were not, you know, contributing to the cause. Let's just say, like they were
not great examples.
Yeah, like I didn't want to associate myself with the YouTubers that people first think of. I can't even think of anybody
like the Paul brothers or just prank channels.
Yeah, or exactly. Just the really like outrageous kind of content. Like I didn't want to associate myself with that. Plus, I think there's also the mindset or the perception of the starving artist, right? It's like, okay, so you're gonna, because there's no straight path towards creating content, and because everyone's path looks different. I think there's this perception of like, ooh, so you're going to try to figure that out? Like, good luck.
Yeah.
You know, but that's why this is so encouraging, because I think the way that we're projecting this economy to grow and evolve is that it would just take away those two things. So today, like even if you started today, you will be further ahead and kind of like, you know, in front of this next evolution of how it's going to continue propelling forward.
Yeah. Lafik says that's how I remember how it felt to hit 200. So 200 is so like,
I remember 200.
Because the 100 subscriber goal on YouTube, we can talk about numbers not mattering. They obviously do matter to everybody to some extent. But that 100 mark is such a big one because you actually get your custom URL.
I don't remember 100 for some reason.
Oh, that was like, it just felt impossible to get to 100.
I remember 200. I don't know when it happened, but I remember feeling, because like I think I knew someone who had 100, but I didn't know anyone who had 200.
Yeah, and
so I was like, oh snap!
You hit 100, and you're like, okay, and then 200 is like,
that's like for sure outside of your
like I'm not just
connections.
squeaking by the 100. I'm like way
there are
past
strangers
it.
here.
Yeah. And there's James and Mark. Saw a live stream of me, Mark, and you guys at our place. How far we've all come.
Aww.
Yeah, and I remember you guys were streaming, and I popped in the chat when I had like 30 something subscribers, and you were like,
cute.
You guys should go check out Tom's channel and help him out.
God,
Like, let's get him to
it.
60 tonight or something. And it was a big moment there. Let's see.
Hello, everybody.
Lafik says, I need to learn how to be a more efficient editor. Any tips?
Edit more videos.
Yeah. Edit more videos.
Become a better writer. Write more.
I have also learned the value recently, like if you want to talk really, really practical about like presets, not ones you download from other people, but ones you make yourself. So like when I put my footage into the computer to edit, it looks okay out of the camera, but I always like adjust it a little bit. And since I'm filming in the same place every time, I just made a preset that even like crops it and kind of like zooms in the way that I want exactly. And then I just drag that on top and it's all done. Like all my color grading stuff is done in 2 seconds.
Right.
That kind of stuff is hugely
that kind
helpful.
of stuff is, I feel like, always the things that's like on my to-do list because it feels like it takes so much time to set it up. But then once you do it, it makes everything easier.
Yeah. And it doesn't, the sad part is it takes like no time to set up either.
Avatar Law Group is here. Being a content creator is a journey, not a destination.
Yes, because as much as I hate to admit it, the goalposts constantly move. I like, you think like if I were only at this level or doing this thing, then I remember thinking if I ever had 1,000 subscribers, I would never even look at my analytics again. Like I would be so just satisfied. Like who cares? Why would I would just focus on making videos. That's not what happened.
Well, so I say the word journey all the time and document the journey and blah, blah, blah. There's a word that I like to use, but I like to use for me, but I don't tell other people it because it's kind of a weird, strange word.
Sexy.
Freaking A. You were obsessed with calling yourself sexy.
This was you. I called you that.
Well, on the podcast, the Secret Series, you called yourself sexy. Anyway, it's lifestyle. And I think it's weird because it's like, oh, it's not a
creator lifestyle.
Yeah, like I think lifestyle has kind of a bad connotation associated with it. With like, I just picture successful entrepreneurs standing in front of Lamborghinis or whatever. It's like the lifestyle or whatever. But to me, it's like the journey implies a beginning and an end, and that's why I feel like lifestyle. There is no end. Like that's just who you are. You are a you are a content creator. You create content.
Yeah.
And it's just a part of your identity kind of thing. And that's why I like to use that because it never ends, like you said.
I saw a thing that popped up this week. I don't know why this popped up, but it was a clip from David Letterman's late night show when Johnny Carson had died and Letterman gave his monologue and there were all these jokes in it and stuff. And there were jokes, it's a late night show. There's jokes throughout the episode. And at the end of the episode, Letterman revealed that the jokes were all written by Johnny Carson, who since he had retired, I think Carson retired in the early 90s. Since he had retired, like once or twice a week, he would send David Letterman a joke just for 15 years or whatever, 10 years, 15 years. And he just saved them all. And so he wrote the monologue, which was there, which I thought was so fascinating because obviously like it wasn't about money. It wasn't even about fame because no one else even saw them until after he died. Yeah. And he didn't know that was going to happen. It was like, he's just sending him jokes to just send him jokes because that's what he did for so long was just like sit down and write jokes and make jokes and put things into joke form. And that's what he's going to do even till like the very, very, very end.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, that's lifestyle.
100 subs was my early Christmas present.
Congratulations again, but you're killing it now, so I don't need to say good luck or anything.
Nick, I opened champagne at 1,000 subs.
If you opened alcohol every time you got 1,000 subscribers, you would be dead by like tonight. So don't do that.
Ben, custom keyboard shortcuts.
Oh yeah. That's one where I'm like, I need to set this up.
Dude, I just found out about. I'm like sad to admit this. If you knew this already, if this is common knowledge, I'm embarrassed.
We'll see.
But I just found out Final Cut Pro, J and L. Okay, so if you push L, it like doubles your playback speed.
Oh, okay. I was thinking J and L cuts.
No, I don't know how to do those.
Okay,
yet.
I was confused.
But if you push L on the keyboard, and it's super helpful for me because I edit, 1 hour long. Yeah, and I just had no idea.
I've accidentally done that, but I didn't realize what I was doing.
Yeah, I pushed a button. I was like, oh.
The high-speed playback stuff. Heather's been on that train.
I'm like upset.
So if she's watching your videos, let me tell you, she ain't watching it in regular speed.
I'm watching at least 1.5.
And I can't, the information does not stick.
Okay, that's how I was. I swear that's how I was. It took me I would say in the past 6 months is when I started to I think I was listening to someone who was just talking so freaking slow. And I was like, dude, no offense. I want to hear what this is. You know what I think it was?
Was it me?
No.
Was it Amir?
I feel bad because it's not that your content wasn't good. Obviously, that's why I stuck around. But I was watching a lot of eCam tutorials that were live streams because obviously it's an eCam thing where they're trying to set up scenes and stuff, but it's it's all live, so they're figuring it out. Yeah, stuff, and I was like, dude, man, there's not even any timestamps. I don't know where the thing that I'm trying to look for is. So boom,
the information doesn't sink into me, and then I get anxiety because
of course you do.
It just makes me nervous, but also. Yesterday I made a video, which you make the video, you watch it, you export it, you watch it, you upload it, you rewatch. You watched your video so many times by the time it's up.
By the time you watch it.
When it was uploaded, I realized there was a mistake. I was like, crap. So I had to delete it and then re-upload it, do the whole thing. And I was watching it again. I was like, okay, I just need to make sure everything's in there. So I'm going to do it at multi-playback speed. It completely kills the timing of my jokes, though, because it's hey, blah, 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 blah. And it's that... It
takes away the experience. So, of course, if I was going to, listen to this, serial podcast or something that is obviously well edited for the entire consuming experience, that I don't watch I watch it at the speed it was made to be at. But if you're...
tutorial or whatever.
Yeah, if it's just,
But at the end of the video, I switched back to normal speed, and I swear I sounded drunk because it was so...
it was so slow.
Yeah, because it was oh, and if you want to learn more, you could just subscribe. It was so weird.
Oh, boy.
Broke my brain.
Okay, have you ever checked out open source editing software like Caden Live?
I haven't because I've been a Final Cut guy for 10 years.
There's no need.
I just haven't. I'm so interested though in poking around more in DaVinci Resolve, especially because Blackmagic switcher's up in here. There it is. And there's a big part of me that has no need for it, but really wants a Blackmagic cinema camera, which I could control with this, by the way. I don't need it though.
You don't need it.
I don't need it. I don't need it.
Babe, you're run by these huge expenses.
It's not. There's nothing to run by. It's also the cheapest of the cinema cameras, by the way. But there's nothing to run by because it's not going to happen. But I did have a dream where I was navigating the menu system the other day. That was my dream.
2022, babe. You can get it in 2022. Custom LUT.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
custom LUTs.
I have
I don't know what a LUT is or how. I know you have a video on there.
Yeah, I have a video on making your own custom LUTs for eCam, which
you know what? I don't
we're actually using right now. You could put it in eCam and then
wait. So this is the raw footage, without
this
the LUT?
is the raw footage.
Ooh, it's sad.
And then if I max out my LUT, it's a little too much, and so I can
too much satch up in there.
Can bump, but you want to when you make the LUT, you want to kind of make it extreme so that you can dial it back and fine tune it.
I just do it in here.
You can do that too, but the LUT thing that is cool because then you could share it with someone, or they could download it, or you could sell it, or whatever, and then people get the exact settings.
Let's see. If Tom doesn't make videos about efficient editing, check out Midland Studios YouTube channel. Very, very, very good tips on Final Cut Pro.
Yeah.
I'll see it there.
Lesora is good too.
Tom talking about auto editing, and I just spent 2 nights editing one video.
That's editing though.
Yeah. Dude, do you know how long it took me to edit the video I proposed to Tom with? There was 52 videos in there.
I was thinking
52 freaking videos and like clips from 52 different videos. I was going to say it's a nightmare. It wasn't a nightmare. It was truly a wonderful experience.
Reliving of these magical moments.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was thinking about something because I was thinking, being only a couple weeks into like self-employment, it is very tough to judge. I've heard people say this, but I've never experienced it. Like, am I doing enough? Am I doing too much? Am I doing the right amount? Like, should I take a day off? Should I work more? Like, I don't know. And it kind of made me think like, oh, I think I understand why there are so many like entrepreneurs, solopreneurs online who are constantly posting like about being busy. And I don't even think it's so much like hustle culture, rise and grind. I think it's literally like, I need to like,
won't stop coming.
Well, it's that, but I think it's like, look, I'm doing something. Like, I promise, I'm working. I really am. Like, I really am, because especially when it comes to something like a video. So here's the quick, I'll be quick. The thought I had was that in college, in the end of my junior year, I was so stressed out that I wasn't actually going to stop, but that was the point where I was like, stressed. I want to quit. And I realized if I leave now, I have nothing to show for it. If I stick it out for one more year, obviously, then I get a degree. I'm not saying sunk cost fallacies, what you should lean into at all times. But in that case, it made sense. But video editing is very much the same, because you can know, like, look, I got my color grading done. I got the whole rough cut done. I got sound of, like, you know the progress you make after 8 hours. But to the rest of the world, it's meaningless until the whole thing is done. So you could sink 100 hours into a video, but if it's not done, export out there, it's the same as if you've done nothing to the rest of the world.
What an interesting
and it's like,
thought.
Well, thinking of that made me realize why it's easy to feel that way, because you can feel like you're working really hard, but then it's like,
what have I done?
Yeah, like nobody knows. They will know, and then if you've done a really good job, they're not even going to notice the time you put into it because it looks so smooth and effortless.
Right.
And that it's just an interesting thing of like trying to gauge if you work for yourself, like there's not just the time. You need to be here from this time, or you need to accomplish these tasks.
The thing I was going to say is that I just made this comment to Tom this morning, because he came into my office and was like, I think I'm going to do a hard out at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Like, shut everything off and couch it.
Because we've been working till like 9 o'clock.
That's the thing. Like, ever since, especially this week, and I think part of last week, we have been working harder than when you had your full-time job, which is like, it was easy for me that when Tom was done with school to also clock out, because I wanted to hang out with him.
Yeah, and we hadn't, especially back in the before times, we hadn't seen each other all day because I was gone.
Yeah, in the before times.
Not our before times, but like the pandemic before times.
Yeah, but now it's like, it's cool because, there's so many questions. I'm like, babe, can you proofread this real quick? And I'll jump in.
Yeah, I can ask you, like, how do I automate this thing and whatever.
Yeah, but 8 p.m.?
Because it goes back and forth.
I've been waking up at 5 a.m. with all these ideas. I don't know what it is about you quitting that's like making me excited.
Well, it's also like, if I think I'm done and I walk in and you're in the middle of editing something, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I could just start this one more thing. Right. So then I start working on something, and then you come in and you're like, well, he's working, so I guess I could start working on something.
Anyway.
And then we just don't sleep.
Do you guys not use Sony Alpha cameras? I don't.
No.
I don't. I use Tom's hand-me-downs.
I used to use them at work. We had mostly Canons, but I bought some Sonys. And of course, I can't help but be interested in the A7S III because it's sort of like it's like the god camera of like video cameras right now. But I have all Canon stuff, and switching is like more pain or incorporating something new is more pain than it's worth.
Yeah, because it's not just the camera, it's the workflow.
The lens, the workflow, the batteries, yeah. And it's like, I've got everything.
It's hard.
Which is why the Blackmagic cameras use my same lenses, and in some cases even the same batteries.
I just found out about Elle this past week, life changing. So I guess it's the same for Premiere.
It must be. There's so much overlap between Final Cut and Premiere. It's nice.
I watch everything at 1.5. See? Thank you, Aubrey.
Aubrey ain't got time. Look at this. Everybody knows about
JNL's life changes speeds up. I can't believe I didn't know about you guys. I went
but the problem
4
is,
years without it.
Here's what I'll say, though. For rough cuts, yes. Like when you're editing an hour-long podcast and you need to just go through and cut out certain things, or you're doing a long talking headshot and you're cutting out the mistakes. But for the video itself, pacing is so important.
I always watch the final draft in the speed that the viewer is going to watch it in, for sure.
Because you know what? This is whatever. Who cares? It's our podcast. We can talk about whatever we want.
Like if you're okay, so one way that I use it is timestamps.
Yes.
Because I don't need, obviously, like I just need to know when I switch subjects so I can write down the timestamp.
Yeah. I've been doing timestamps once it's uploaded and then playing it back in YouTube to do the YouTube proof to make sure the upload didn't screw anything up.
See, you're good. I don't watch it in YouTube.
Because weird things can happen once in a while.
I should watch it in YouTube.
Or it's mostly audio. Like sometimes audio sound great on your computer and you upload it and it's like, it's a little funky. But anyway, what I was noticing in terms of pacing, Tom? This might be helpful since there's a lot of creators in our group here. I started a while ago taking some of the audio from my video, putting it into Adobe Audition and just fine tuning it a little bit. I don't do it with every video, just once in a while. And one of the things I do, or especially I used to do when I had my old computer that had the fans on all the time, was do noise reduction.
I used to do that too.
Yeah, and it works well, but the way you do it in Audition is you need to find a clip of blank, of emptiness to get the noise print, and then you apply that to everything so it removes that from everything. But the way I'm doing it is I'm importing my edited video, like the audio from my edited video, doing that, fine-tuning it, throwing it back in, and replacing it. Not the raw audio because there's just so much. But what I noticed was there were no blanks. I couldn't find empty spots because every second of the video is filled with me talking, which is still kind of the case, but it really made me think, hey, Tom, when you're switching subjects or something, maybe breathe for a second and like let the music come in and let the thought finish and then switch to another topic.
I like how you do it though.
I mean, it's clearly like it's working, but it just made me think like, wow.
Yeah, but then I remember like back in the day, you were like trying to watch videos from people you were subscribed to, and then it was like, here's another,
Oh, I don't mean like a 40
coffee.
Yeah, I don't
B-roll.
mean like 40-second coffee B-roll. I just mean like literally if I say like, hey, the ATEM Mini is really, really great, but so is the Extreme. Instead of just like immediately cutting and saying the Extreme has blah, blah, it's saying this is great, so is this one. Ba, ba, ba. And then jumping in, like literally 1 second or 2 seconds, it can just really like.
So I told you about Ira Glass,
yes.
who's like the king of podcasts.
Podglass.
He was doing, I think it was Serial, but it was S-Town. So Brian, the host of the S-Town podcast,
my favorite podcast,
shared a picture of the what are they called?
Like the notes on the script.
Yeah, the notes that he had gotten back from Ira Glass, and it's crazy how all the notes was just timing of like negative 0.2 seconds here, add 0.1 second here, add 0.2 seconds here, minus 2 whatever, and it was just like it was just the half second, the quarter second, which is crazy how much thought is put into the or speed it up. Anyway, I don't know why I thought of that.
That's interesting. But you were saying because I had said that I should have a hard out and like be done at a certain time.
Oh yeah, how do we? I forgot.
And we were just talking about how much we've been working, and then you were saying, but you don't really like. Who cares?
Yeah, so that's what I was telling him. I was like, Tom came to me this morning and said, I think I need to turn off the brain. And I think that there is a difference between just overall, taking a break as a human, from whatever it is that you're working on, taking a break, having a weekend, taking a vacation, whatever, which you still haven't done since you've switched careers. But that's a different thing. But like, I think especially as a content creator, a creative person, an entrepreneur, motivation is hard to come by. And if you have it, freaking go for it. Like if you're not stressed, ride it out, man. Like it's like the lightning in the bottle is there. Why would you, like if you're not tearing your hair out, or if you're enjoying what you're doing, mind you, YouTube is the thing that was your creative outlet, and now you get to do it all day.
Yeah, no, I know. That's why I'm like, I can't believe I get to do this all day. Like,
I think that this is like residual guilt of like, now that it's work, you feel like you have to turn it off. No, you can still keep playing the game.
No, yeah, I'm not used to this. So, yes, there's that. I know I was designing an emoji for my channel the other day for like channel memberships, and I was like, there's probably something better I should be doing. But I was like, no, this is what I should be doing.
Let me tell you what idea you would have never come up with.
I would have come up with it, but I would have just thrown it in the back of my brain and never done anything about it.
Anyway, Michael, I'm actually considering a Sony or a Canon M50. He might have info for you.
I do. Heather has the M50, so she might have input.
Well, I don't use the M50 anymore.
The thing is, for the price, so okay, I will give you some advice. The original M50 is cheaper than the M50 Mark II. There's virtually no difference between them, so I would get the cheaper one if you're going to do that. The thing about the M50 is it's a great camera, but it does use the different lenses, which could be funky. But also, for the price now, I think there are just other competitive options. Like, if you want to stick with Canon, the Canon RP, which is like the baby brother to the R that I'm using right now, it's more expensive, but you can sometimes find it on sale for like a couple $100 more than the M50, and it's a lot more camera. It's full frame, mirrorless, the M50 is mirrorless. But there's that. There's also stuff like the Sony a6400, which is like the one Bob uses, and it looks amazing.
Yeah,
you can get like a prime lens, like the Sigma 16 millimeter. It's more expensive, but you're gonna get so much more out of it. But the M50 is awesome too. Like, there's nothing wrong with it.
People tell me they watch other videos at 1.5 except for mine. I move at hyperspeed through my... Yeah, Nick, you have like a good... you have just a good voice. It's like easy to follow. And there's no dead space.
The speed is the personality, though. Like, the talking fast is...
Yeah, it's part of your personality.
Because I remember I was going to tell you this, Nick, earlier, but Film Riot is one of my like favorite YouTube channels. And they've been around since like 2009, 2008 or something. And the main host there talks very fast normally. And back when they were just starting, got a lot of feedback on like, you talk too fast. And he consciously for like a few weeks tried to slow it down. And it really seems wrong. Like and then finally he was like, I can't do it. Like you got to rewind it or whatever.
No,
like,
you guys slow down.
Or
like 0.75
there you go.
playback speed.
Because he was like, this is how I talk and how I communicate things. So
me talking slow, I wish I could. I know, me too.
Joke.
It's like, but I mean, the talking fast adds like an energy. So, but there's just some people who talk slow. Drunk Tom would be hilarious. I agree. I've only seen it once. So
he doesn't show up very often.
Yeah. Actually, Final Cut Pro is JKL. J is backwards. Oh, J is backwards. That's right. K is stop. And L is forward. Now, did you know that YouTube viewing is the same exact layout? Yes.
That's where I've been using it. And then also...
Well, no. So on YouTube, I just made a keyboard shortcuts YouTube short.
There you
So
go.
if you do J and L on YouTube, it skips the video 10 seconds
10
back
seconds.
or 10 seconds forward. It's the greater than and less than sign, which you have to hold shift and do comma or period. That's what changes the playback speed.
Oh, but comma and period on their own will do frame by frame.
Yeah.
On YouTube, which is cool.
Yeah. Another thing I think is if you push I, the mini player will pop up. And if you push / it takes your, you go straight to the search bar. I don't know.
J backs you up 10 seconds.
Anyway.
K stops and starts your playback. L jumps you forward the video you're watching. Forward 10 seconds. Aaron's here. Hey,
Hi.
Aaron. It's just
Hey,
now
guys.
it's all a mix of like couples table, Peter's
I love
channel,
it.
my channel. Did you guys see the AI songs that were created for the Lost Tapes? I did not, but I'm
No idea what
interested.
this is.
I've not heard much about it. Coffee Talk and Tech, DaVinci Resolve is what I learned on, so I couldn't outgrow it. Well, Raphael Ludwig, who is not here right now, but should be going live. I think he's going live today, maybe like right now. He has a theory that he needed a live stream on that Resolve in the next few years could become the main editor, well, at least outside of like Avid and stuff, but like the main editor because so many people are picking it up for free in their younger years, or at least their formative years, learning on it, and then why are you going to switch like when you already know something?
See, that's why I learned on iMovie. So when I had to grow, I just went to Final Cut, which makes sense. Let's see. The left and right arrows jump 5 seconds. Let's see. Junkie and Peter, why do I get more
when using the ZV
one? What's more?
It's like when there's a tight pattern and there's kind of, you see like lines jumping between. On some cameras will do that.
Let's see. J is backwards playback, L is forwards, and sped up video playback on division K is pause.
Cam.
What is your favorite length of video? I don't have one.
Yeah, I don't have one either. It depends on the channel. There's some where it's like you want a shorter video from that creator, and there's others. Like,
I just watched a video that was an hour long, but I watched it in 2x.
But like if somebody like D'Angelo Wallace uploads a 45-minute video,
I'll
like,
watch the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Let's see. People can become a pseudo creator by making videos and uploading them unlisted until the confidence is there to go real time. For sure.
See, I like that because we've talked for a long time about like you can record stuff and you don't have to upload
publish.
it. You get into the habit. But I like the extra step of uploading it. Keep it private. Keep it unlisted. Because once it's there, the temptation to then switch it from unlisted to public. Eventually, I imagine most people would just do it.
Mm-hmm. And like, I don't know if you know this, but probably if you upload your first video, no one's going to watch it.
Yeah, so don't worry about that.
Yeah. If you're afraid of what people will think, no one will really think anything unless you already have an audience. Well,
true.
Yeah.
True.
Let's see. Could you do a test of the ZV-1 at some point?
Heather has a ZV-1.
Well, then you can use it and do a test.
So I can. Also, I mean, it works great for streaming, and it's a great camera. And Peter uses it in his streaming setup too. But it doesn't fit in Peter's because it's like the three, like it's like the A7S III and like all these other like very nice cameras, and then with lenses, and then the ZV-1. But it's a cool camera, and it works for streaming, and you can just power it on like unlimited.
Let's see. Do unlisted videos count towards the YouTube algorithm?
I think in so many ways. So I've been learning this. Like unlisted views don't count towards your channel view count, right?
Yeah, they don't.
Yes, they don't. Okay. So if you have a video that's, say you have 100 views and you unlist it, and then it's your channel views are gonna go down even though the video is still there. So I don't really think they do, and I'm glad you asked because
they're not searchable either, so it's not.
What I was wondering was channel memberships, like if you make a video early available, so like, hey, you remember you get it a day early. Does that then? Because they always say like the first 24 hours or whatever a video is very, very important. So you're just like killing this video.
But isn't that for the velocity of the video?
And so maybe once it goes public, I don't know.
No, it's public.
So, okay.
Once it goes public.
So if it were members only,
yeah,
it probably wouldn't. Then you switch it to public, and then it would like.
Yeah. It's when it goes public.
Interesting.
Let's see.
There's so many.
I also just listen to my videos like a podcast audio only before I upload. Let's see. Good. Editors here in chat can nerd out. I like the idea about a pause breath between two thoughts. I forget that.
I get that from watching documentaries because documentaries.
Breathing lowers attention.
Breathing lowers retention. Oh. I don't know, but it depends on the video. We lost
viewers.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been from like documentaries or This American Lifestyle stuff where there's so many like pauses, or like This American Life, they will just play music for 8 seconds.
I know, but see, that's
I don't want to do that in
podcasts
YouTube
are
videos.
Different though. Yeah. Like it's a thing, like Phoebe does that.
I'm gonna bring up Matt Diavella, who does this really well. So does Bright Sun Films, who does documentary series about abandoned things. Those are like documentary style things. Matt Diavella, who has a documentary background, his YouTube videos, they're very well paced. And it's not that there's a huge like pause or random B-roll montage. It's just like, it's so good at like, we're talking about this subject. Now we're switching here, or we're transitioning here. It's like, it's just the pacing, which there's an art. You can just blast through, like, which is what I do, but there's an art to just really effective pacing.
So here to tie it back to what we originally talked about, I think as the, I don't know what we want to call it, the creator economy grows and propels forward, I think the culture around consuming content also will change. So before, it's like, I think all of us are kind of trained to think that, oh my God, we got to keep attention. We got to make everything as choppy as possible. And, every second is a second that you need to convince someone to stick around and blah. But I think that, as more people consume content, because there will be more content to consume and people are able to really find what works for them. Like, you might have a 10-minute video, someone else might have a 10-minute video on the same thing, but they're probably, depending on their preferences, they might be willing to listen to your 10-minute video versus someone else's like 20-minute video.
Oh my God. I was trying to find some tutorials yesterday on hard disk recovery, and so many of them were 3 minutes long, but it was like the longest 3 minutes of my life.
You gotta push.
I watched that
greater than,
because it was just like, are you kidding? Like, I can't.
Yeah. So, fun fact: oxygen used to be poison to ancient life.
Well, and look, I don't know.
Imagine watching Gerald Undone at 1.5. Oh my gosh, that's like torture.
Isn't that what he says at the end? If you didn't like this video, watch it back at
1.5. Let's see. I can't watch videos in reverse. Let's see. Just tested the comma period on Heather's new video. Yay! Type awesome in YouTube morning if you're sensitive to flashing lights.
I was gonna say.
What were you gonna say?
When you were talking about different ways of creating content. It's also like different styles. So I think of music genres. So there's, you know,
you're not
heavy metal versus jazz are both genres of music that people like and enjoy and perform. But you tell a heavy metal person, like, yes, the guitars need to be loud. Make 8 guitar layers, and the BPM should be just off the freaking chart, and you need a crazy solo and whatever. And then you tell a jazz person, like, you wouldn't give them that same advice. Like, your jazz recording is bad because there's not 5 layers of guitar on it. Like, and it doesn't mean that one is better or worse. It's like, it's different, and there's different, it's like just variations.
Aubrey has the Rodecaster Pro. Yay, the best sound effects and where to get them. Totally diving in. I love it. Epidemic.
Yeah, Aubrey, if you have an Epidemic subscription, they have a sound effects library. You can make your own sound effects too. That's a good one. Yeah. And the YouTube library has sound effects too.
I have a ZV-1. Doesn't it drive you nuts? It's not a touchscreen.
It's got
there's so many times where
it's got a big, beautiful screen. Sony was just so behind on like, our cameras should actually be touchscreen. I don't know why.
Anyway. Missed it today.
It's okay. We hope you're doing well. Hope your mom's doing well. We're glad you're here.
Glad you're here. Let's see. I could watch this stream all day, but I have a dog to walk. I have to keep her from becoming even more chonky.
Yes, we have dogs that will need. Well, there's the head of one right there.
The head of one.
That sounds bad.
Philip is here. Hi guys, just came in Phillip? And watched back at 1.5.
Oh, that's what he said. Why do I have 0.75?
Oh, 0.75.
He didn't like because that's what he says at the end. I'm always like, I'm always perplexed at like why. There we go.
So I have a question to close it. First of all, if you're just tuning in, make sure to hit that like button. Yes. And if you want to dislike this video, hit it twice.
To make sure it really works.
Yeah. Right, Peter?
Sometimes the arrow sticks. Or the thumbs up sticks. So you got to...
Okay, so question.
Answer.
I'm not really sure how to word this, so bear with me. After watching Jack's video about the future of the creator economy, after our discussion here today and hearing some thoughts on what people think about it, it seems like there's a lot of excitement and optimism, and you know, obviously we are kind of in alignment when it comes to we're excited about this.
Yeah.
As someone whose content is mostly catered towards people who are aspiring or future content creators, how does this make you feel? Are you going to do anything different because we know that there's going to be a surge of new creators coming? Because we're passionate about the creator middle class and the creator economy, do you take that into effect when you are creating your content and like say, I don't know, your short-term and long-term goals?
That's a good question. Wow. Wow.
Because I have thoughts on this.
Do you? I don't really have a direct answer because what I have been saying for a long time is when I come up with video ideas, it's usually for myself 6 months ago. What would I have wanted to know? What was I struggling with? What did I need? So it's kind of that, but it's sort of like, you know, you could just make like, hey, I'm going to make beginner tutorials about this thing. But then as people progress beyond the beginner things, then they're going to leave and people naturally come and go.
Right.
Or you can grow with them and say, hey, I'm going to make a beginner thing. Now I've done the beginner stuff. We're moving into intermediate stuff just as you grow, as your audience grows. But then at a certain point too, they'll still probably leave. And then, I don't know, there's a new group of people that could, I don't really know. Fortunately, in my area, there are things that pop up. Like last year, granted, it wasn't for a great reason, but people were stuck at home. And as soon as people needed to go to virtual meetings all the time and realize that their webcams were terrible and their microphones were bad, suddenly everybody wanted to know, how do I hook up a nicer camera? How do I do that? Could I hook up 2 cameras? Could I put a little thing? I need to screen share, but it's really like these questions that they never had before popped up. And there were just these tools coming out that I was excited about, that I already kind of knew about, that I could share knowledge on. So it's kind of like, it's sort of like, it's not like keeping up with the trends, but it is kind of looking ahead and going, okay, this is a thing that I think is going to be helpful. Like my big thing right now is I'm really focused on stuff that helps people be a one-person production team. or like a 2-person thing, and
well,
have
that's
stuff.
what I'm saying, because these one person, these one person production teams are obviously content creators.
Yeah, and so I'm like, what are some really cool tools and different ways? Not just the tool itself. Like, hey, I'm gonna keep showing this off, so it is what it is. Where's the button? I think it's this one. Hey, look at this cool thing. It's great. That's helpful, but also like with the Rodecaster video I made, where it's like, Rode came out with this, it does this. Look what I figured out it could do. Like, here's something different. I have like a couple other ideas for things where it's like, I'm going to kind of take this thing and this thing, which seem unrelated, but are accessible, smash them together and unleash a new capability that maybe you didn't realize was there,
Right.
but solves a problem. So like that kind of stuff, and just sort of, I don't know. I mean, that's the best answer I can come with, and I feel like it kind of sucks. Not that it sucks, but it's not a great answer. It's just sort of like, I'll keep making videos. That's my answer.
Well, it's fine. You're in a transition mode.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm happy with, like,
yeah,
I'm not in what I've heard so many creators who've been doing something for a long period of time want to transition to something else, or they're tired of this and they want to shift here, and they're kind of in that, like, how do I do that? How do I make the move? How do I bring in a new content?
Yeah.
I don't have that. I'm like super happy with how things are. I love the stuff I make videos about. Like, I only make the videos I want to make. So I don't know. Like, I'm cool with keeping that going for a while.
Yeah.
Until something changes. Anyway, what are your thoughts? You said you had thoughts.
I do have thoughts. So let's see. Well, for me, I think what I have, it's no secret that I'm really passionate about YouTube, the YouTube platform, and helping people navigate how to share their stories on YouTube.
Yes.
This is why I've embraced the idea of being a YouTube coach. I have my angles in terms of, like, I want to support you. I do it with you. I have a very, positive, motivating approach to it, all of these things. But watching this video and having this discussion, it's not like anything has changed, but I think what I feel is almost like a renewal of my purpose.
Okay, that's
in
good.
terms of, like, I am, like, so passionate about helping more people create content. Like, that's the journey I've always wanted to share since day one. Yes, I am I started out as a vlogger and it was very me focused, but the mission was to help other content creators, and I think it just always will be. Like, that is just who I am and what I want to do. So knowing this and knowing that there is going to be a lot of content creators that are new and want to start and are eager and are willing, but I basically, like, I want to be able to show up for them. I want to be able to be like, hey, I'm not saying that I'm the only option, but I am a option if you're looking for, this, here's how I can help. And if you want that help, I want to be here for you. Does that make sense?
It
so
does.
It's like, yeah, I guess it's just like motivating for me.
But that's what you're good at too, because the thing you bring to the table with your coaching and stuff is other people, anyone can talk about, like, this is how you upload a video, this is how you do tags, this is how you do that. But the thing you bring up is like, it's the very relatable, like, personal side of it. It's not just, hey, you need to make a video and do this. It's, I really understand where you're at right now, and, like, being in your shoes and being in your position and all the different things that you're feeling. And you're very open with, like, I'm also struggling with some of the, like, I don't have it all figured out. And I think that is, like, that's a thing that really disarms people and then makes them, it's what happened to me. It makes them go, like, okay, like, yeah, well, I mean, it makes them feel like their insecurities can fall away, and then they can focus on the thing they actually want to do.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to be more and more important, because as more and more people do it, you're going to see other people and get that itch of, like, well,
it's so, like, I'm even just sitting here thinking, the way that I want to move forward is to make sure that I have enough support for the people. Like, say someone next week is like, I want to get started. Heather, can you help me? I want to be like, yes, boom, like, here you go. You have to pay $0. Like, yeah, of course there's paid options and stuff, but, like, here's enough to get you started. And if you want to like really take it to the next level, here's how, you know, we can work together or whatever. But I'm just excited. I think like as we're waiting for these companies to develop and figure out their things, I think there's a gap that both of us can meet. Like you're coming out with your podcaster playbook course in May, which is really exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
Aubrey was my first customer.
You know, if you're thinking about this and you're still not sure and you want someone, you know, if you want the support, we're very excited and eager to help.
Yeah, in any way.
And I think it's like positioning you so that once things take off like crazy in the next 3 years, it'll be like
you're
when
not
Tom,
trying to catch up.
Yeah, like Tom started 3-4 years ago. So now he's able to pivot into a full-time thing. 3-4 years from now, it's going to be even easier to pivot. So, but you can't pivot. Well, I mean, you can, but it's going to be easier if you already have an existing audience and an existing brand and all of those things.
Exactly.
Anyway,
I think that's a great point.
Super chat.
I did want to highlight Bailey Stone.
I thought we figured out Streamlabs.
But it's connected to my YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah.
Loving this conversation.
Bailey's
Thanks,
awesome.
Bailey.
I did a quick little like mini channel review.
Oh,
video
really?
Solved. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's really, really exciting. So it's cool to see you here. Thank you so much.
What is it?
Lots of like there's a podcast and then pre-recorded video in the tech universe.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Next topic, alternative to soda drinks.
Oh, yeah, that's my addiction.
So,
my vice.
Do you guys know that Tom drinks 2 sodas a day? I'm
Not,
just going to
okay.
throw it out there.
Coke
2
Zero.
is soda, yo.
It's Coke Zero.
It's Coke Zero.
There's no sugar. There's no calories. There's a little bit of salt, and probably some super dangerous chemicals. And it's so good. You know how
I try to get him to go 1 a day, but I hate saying no to him.
I mean, we'll do the bubbly water or whatever, you know, the LaCroix. That's cool. That's good. It can scratch the itch sometimes. But let me tell you the joy I feel of an ice cold, this sounds like sponsored stuff, an ice cold can of Coke Zero. It's like frosty, and then you go, and it's just there in like the little.
So literally 6 in the morning. Okay.
Okay, not every day. That's
6 in the morning. We're waking up. We're rubbing the sleep out of our eyes. We're drawing back the kitchen curtains. The sun's coming through. I've got the coffee maker set onto drip coffee.
That's your
You know what
caffeine.
Tom does? Opens the fridge, pulls out a Coke Zero first thing in the morning.
That's not every morning. That's when I have eggs for breakfast, because the eggs just like they're hot and they make my throat dry, and the Coke is just so refreshing and crisp and delicious.
You now know what his vice is.
Oh, it's so good. I'm going to go drink a Coke Zero right after this.
A lot of creators are definitely being more diverse so they have more control over success.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's see.
Troy. First time catching
Hey,
the
Tom
stream.
and Heather.
I'm a
Yay.
music teacher myself who may be leaving K-12 education and really enjoyed listening to Secret Series. That is
So we're going to have a follow-up, I think.
this week.
We're going to be talking about online courses.
We're going to be talking about that. I hope that your leave...
It's not going to be a secret anymore. But
I hope that your leave is a positive leave, and I wish you all the best from the other side.
Yeah.
of it.
That's very exciting. Let's see. I also have a soda drink issue. That's why I brought it up. I was thinking about kombucha. It's not common here, though.
It's
you
the
can
bubbles,
make your own kombucha.
It's the bubbles for me that like really do it, and the water can scratch the itch sometimes. But if I'm in, no, otherwise, sweeteners kill brain cells in the long.
So Tom did research.
So imagine how. Yeah, I've done.
He gets defensive.
I have done a lot of. I have yet to find a peer-reviewed article that. I found one once that said aspartame can cause negative effects in rats, but the amount of it they had to consume would be the equivalent of drinking 50 gallons of soda a day. And my thought was, if you're drinking 50 gallons of anything in a day, you're gonna die, so it's fine. I'm
dangerously addicted to Coke Zero. Like, I don't know how people can drink Diet Coke.
There's a difference.
We didn't make the switch. He was Diet Coke, and then we went to Switzerland, and they had like
they don't have Diet Coke.
They have Coke. They
Coke
have Coke
Light,
Zero,
which is very hard to find, but then Coke Zero is everywhere.
Yeah, and then when we came back here, we were like, oh, it's a thing. We should.
Yeah, it did taste
This is not
good.
a question.
Yeah, it's Coke.
Yeah.
This is not
The ice cold tin can of Coke. Oh yeah. See, now I'm like salivating for a Coke. But mind you, I will fully admit this. I also drink a Coke a day. Well, not anymore.
Sometimes,
but
see,
like...
my 2 Cokes, you know who's drinking like half of one, and if it's out, hey, is there a Coke here? I've got mine here. Someone was drinking, grab it. So it's like, sure, I'm drinking 2 a day, but I gotta drink 2 to get my 1 because.
Anyway, you definitely shouldn't have 2 Monsters.
I've never had an energy drink.
Yeah. Ever?
In my life.
You've never tasted an energy drink?
Never had an energy drink.
They're really sweet. It's
I have no desire to experience that.
Jaeger bombs.
Josh asked, what's the difference between Coke Zero and Diet Coke? I know the answer to this. So back in the 80s, I believe it was, is when Coke switched their formula to New Coke, and then it didn't do well, and they switched back to Coca-Cola Classic. There's a big conspiracy theory that was on purpose to boost sales of Coca-Cola Classic. New Coke had its own flavor. That's Diet Coke. Coke Zero is the flavor of regular Coke. Like, if you drink a Coke Zero, it's the closest thing to a regular Coke. I honestly can't tell the difference, but it's the closest thing.
You haven't had side by side though. We should do that one day.
I mean, we did it a while ago, and it was like there's a totally difference, but it's very, very close. Whereas Diet Coke is like this other thing over here, and that's why Diet Coke is New Coke flavor. Coke Zero is as close to regular Coke as possible. It's called bubbly, not bubbly.
Let's see. The first Coke Zero is so good too. It's just like injected.
It's just that first sip when it's as carbonated as it could possibly be.
Wow. Diet Coke is worse than normal Coke. Diet word on it is misleading. Yeah. Let's see. Love Coke. Not a fan of Pepsi. Diet contains hard to process chemicals. No sweets is the best.
Well, that's where it's like what was the water we were at? Where it is like LaCroix, where it's like the essence of strawberry. Like it would sit next to a strawberry for a while or something, and now it has this.
Before my accident, I was addicted to Diet Coke. I used to have whiskey and Diet Coke, but because of my accident, I hate carbonated beverages now.
Oh, interesting.
It's not that I hated carbonated beverages. I just didn't drink soda, and then I moved in with Tom.
Well, see, and mine, it came from teaching because I would get sick, and whenever especially my first couple of years when I'm catching every friggin' disease that's in the classroom, and I'm sick all the time, when I had a sore throat and I couldn't talk, bubbles really like soothe the sore throat, at least for me. And they like let me talk and feel so much better. But I really couldn't be drinking sodas a day with sugar and everything. And that's when I was like, well, okay, the diet version, I'll try a diet version of something. And I was like, okay, this is fine. And then I was like, oh, there's no calories in here. There's no sugar in here. I'll just have a few of these. I could have soda and not feel guilty. Because when I used to drink regular soda, I was very good about not having a soda every day and at most like one here. But you know what? We all need a vice. That's my vice.
I know. Tom doesn't drink.
Deal with it.
He doesn't do like anything else. Let's see. They don't have a lot of
too much.
They don't have a lot of stuff in Europe that we do here. Hint, hint. I have a bottle of Sting right now in refrigerator, which I'm gonna go see. I don't know what Sting is.
It sounds like an energy drink though.
Yeah. Pepsi Max, anyone?
I'm just not a Pepsi guy.
I can't with the Pepsi. It's too sweet. It's like I don't know. It's a weird sweet. Crazy. I've never had an energy drink either. I don't need it. Monster Energy is my soft drink of choice. That's crazy.
Do Steve realize the magic power of steering the stream in his direction? I know we were done and he was like, hey.
I know. See, that's like you're a homie, you know? You're like part of the community. And if we could visit you.
This is also clearly something that we have had long discussions about.
Let's see. My sister doesn't like Coca-Cola Classic, but loves the diet version. Interesting.
Diet Coke is
I've never known anyone who's actually preferred the diet.
I did for a long time.
You preferred the diet.
Until I had Coke Zero. But I would prefer diet to regular. Yes.
Dude, diet tastes like diet. Coke Zero doesn't taste like diet. It doesn't taste like regular Coke either, but it doesn't have that diet taste.
But you get a custom, because I didn't like Diet Coke for a long time, and then the taste was acquired, and it's like now I like it.
Taste acquired.
Yeah. Same with dark chocolate, same with onions, all that stuff.
I'm brew for the win. What's brew?
I don't know. Dan Mace brew. Stu is brew.
Berkey water and black coffee. What's Berkey water?
Berkeley water. Water from Berkeley.
All right.
There we go.
Wow. So we did. Oh, wait. You should talk about your clubhouse room that you're doing today.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be doing a clubhouse room later today at 4 o'clock with Buzz Wood. It's going to be all about ed tech and stuff. I don't know how to promote that, so it's at 4 p.m.
Tom
Pacific
on
time.
Clubhouse.
Sure.
He's just Tom Buck. You can search for him.
No, I'm So Darn Tom, I think. Or I think you probably search my name. It's the
search my
same
name.
picture and stuff that's everywhere, so consistent branding.
Yeah. 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So in like about an hour and a half.
Yep.
But you're talking about ed tech.
Ed tech, that kind of stuff.
Oh, well.
I sure hope. Last time I talked to Buzz, I was still teaching, and I sure hope he knows
that you're not teaching anymore. I thought he knew.
I'm sure he does.
Let's see. Red Bull really has bull sperm, though. I don't know if that's confirmed. But you're trying to steer the conversation.
Drink Coke Zero, so I don't know.
70% real sugar Pepsi, 30% club soda works for me.
Oh, you're mixing. Interesting.
I'm Brew is amazing.
Custom.
Oh, so I'm Brew is like a thing. I'm Brew.
I am Groot.
I am Groot. I wish I could get Clubhouse, but I'm an Android user. It's okay.
It's fine. It's a lot of people talking about networking. But not ours today. It will be fun because Buzz is like, I was going to say, he's a slightly older version of me, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fun.
I wonder if he knows that that's how you refer to him.
Well, I was like, oh, crap. But it is like, oh, I'm like looking into the future.
Let's see. Okay. Tom, send people to your website and make an email list to push for when y'all go live. We don't always get YouTube notifications. Okay, so here's the deal. It is Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
And this is Heather's channel. I know we're in my room that's on my channel all the time, but this is Heather's channel.
Yeah, but I mean, either way, that's the time. So before we were like switching times, switching days and all that, but that's like, you know, you can count unless we tell you that if you want to know when we're gonna go live, it's Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
But if you want to go to my website, himynameistom.com, you can sign up for my mailing list for the Podcaster Playbook, the DIY guide to launching your own podcast. Releases in May.
Yes. Let's see. Do you guys not know I'm Brew? It's a fizzy drink made in Scotland from the girders of the Fourth Rail Bridge.
I didn't know about
Never
this,
even heard of it.
and now I know.
It's a Scottish drink.
Interesting.
Did we miss the conversation? We are about to sign off.
We went in a direction at the end, though.
Yeah, we're
so
talking
it's okay.
about soda.
You know how many people this week have asked me, like, hey, when are we going to see you play those drums back there? And I was like, you should have been there for the live stream last week.
When are you? Well, let me ask you that. When are you going to live stream again?
I don't know. I want to do like one a month for right now.
Aw.
Because I don't want to overdo it. I would like to do a members only one soon, though.
I think a lot of you guys saw Tom went live, last week?
Yeah, we were going to do an hour, and it was 3.5 hours or something.
Yeah, but he played the drums, and he played guitar, and it was so much fun.
It was ridiculous. It was very
so
fun.
much fun.
Yeah, it was cool.
You should do another one. I have set reminder on my phone for the stream, so don't rely on YouTube notification. Yeah, Aubrey does too. So it's like for sure Thursdays, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the foreseeable future, because this guy
makes his own schedule.
There you go.
Alrighty.
All right, guys. So
it is time to clear the table.
If you have any suggestions for future topics, please let us know. Reach out to us on social media. Give this video a like if you liked it. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Yep. Thanks for being here. Stay safe.
Bye.